keeping it physical. That's what I talk about here on this channel all the time. It's how I like to express ownership and collecting art that I love. It's not just adding shelf space. I mean, it is. But we've had a major blow to physical media. I have a lot of friends that are misconceived as to what a PlayStation 5 disc is. Some get them confused with what Xbox discs are, or what a Nintendo cartridge might be. Today, I want to talk about this announcement that Sony has just made. This is how we start the month of July. They are discontinuing disc pressing of PS5 games, starting with anything released after January 1st, 2028. Obviously, you can see this wall behind me. These are all PS5 games. There are PS5 games on discs. That's the first misconception that so many people that don't collect video games, don't really play a lot of different video games, they get this misconception that it's a 90% key on a disc that calls to a server to download the game versus a 10% game on the actual disc. It's actually about a flip-flop to that. It might be something more like 80-20, but about 80% of PS5 discs are actual games on the disc. So that's the first misconception I want to get out of the way on this video right from the start. Is that for about 80% of your discs, you actually own a gold copy of the game, which means that you can take and put that game in your system and play it without an internet connection at all whatsoever. The game is playable from the disc. Now, there's a caveat to how I say that, because we haven't played games off of a disc since the Xbox 360. A lot of PS3 games would have to install to the console to be able to still read from the disc, because it's kind of hard to read that much data so quickly off of an optical drive. So what we get instead is we get the file size of the game installed to the disc, compressed to the disc, and then it installs to our console for us to play from our console storage, because our console storage reads and writes faster than an optical drive can. So that's the first misconception. You're not just buying key cards. Now, case in point, this is a key card. And this key card would have been better bought for the PlayStation 4, because that disc would have worked in a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5, but it is just a key on a disc. There is nothing on this disc other than 35 megabytes to prove that you have the key. But this is Activision, and this was right around the time that they were trying to just make Call of Duty a platform. And yeah. So that's a case in point where Call of Duty games, which is a very big mainstream game, it's just a key on the disc. Because Call of Duty is a huge, heavily inflated, file-sized game. Then you have things like NBA 2K. Those games are huge in file size. They are, yes, too big for the disc. at 125 gigabytes. But that's not the majority of your games, okay? The majority of game sizes are anywhere from 35 to 85 gigabytes. That's the normal range of games, maybe up to about 95 gigabytes, right? Well, PS5 games, they use a 4K format. They use an Ultra Blu-ray disc for every yielded disc. And every yielded disc on the PS5 is a 100 gigabyte capacity disc. You can fit almost every game on a physical format, even if it's multiple discs. I don't have the game any longer. I traded it in because I'm waiting for them to do a triple pack, but Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'm sure Final Fantasy VII Revelation, fingers crossed, Square Enix actually releases those games on 2 discs because they are roughly about 120 to 140 gigabytes per game. They give you an install disc and a play disc, but there's game data on both discs that need to be installed from the disc. You can put that game in your console, install it, and play it completely offline without ever getting on the internet. Rockstar, who is really in deep right now, they did the same thing with Red Dead Redemption 2. This has 2 discs inside the case that lets you install the disc and play it. Now, there have been updates on this game, but this game was not a broken mess when it released. You can play this game completely offline on a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5 right from the disc. So they could put, say, Grand Theft Auto 6, which was right in the news right before Sony announced that they were getting rid of discs. They had said, hey, we're not launching Grand Theft Auto 6 on a disc. It will be digital only because we don't want things to leak. Okay, well then there were rumors that they were releasing it in December, right before Christmas, to still get the bolstered sales of people like myself who are dinosaurs and stuck on physical media, right? That's not the case. And seeing as Sony is pulling the plug on disc production, I don't think it is coming. I think Grand Theft Auto 6 will forever be a digital game. So this is setting a precedent, right? You can only get your games from Sony. You can only get them digital. If someone hacks your account, which is actually known to happen on Sony's platform quite a bit, you lose your digital games. You know what I don't lose? Case in point, this game came out about 2 weeks ago from this recording. UFC 6. EA Sports, which is Electronic Arts of all companies, they put this entire game on the disc. Now let's be real. They did release other fighters that you have to buy and download and whatever. But I was able to take this to my parents' house, put it into the PlayStation, install it offline, and play it. No update whatsoever. The entire game is on this disc, including the PS5 Pro enhancements. So this game's one of the few. I mean, we have our first party games like Horizon Zero Dawn. The full game is on this disc with the PS5 Pro enhancements. Same with Last of Us 2. Pragmata, that's a third party game from Capcom. Full games on the disc, including the PS5 Pro enhancements. I mean, look, guys, this is what I'm getting at. They can do it. They can take away your games at any time. They can just flip that switch. They can just do it. An hour before that, they had announced that they were shutting down the PS3 and Vita digital stores. Now, I know I'm one of those dinosaurs, right? I'm screaming at the sky right now. Keep my discs. I'm one of the few that have one of them PS3s still sitting in my main room. But it's a very versatile box. It's still compatible with 3D, which is on a lot of your new projectors. It has a lot of really amazing games that are still stuck to that PlayStation 3 format. Now, I have a bunch of PS3 games up here on this wall, along with my PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5 games. They're all right here behind me on this wall, right? They're going to shut down that store, and there's going to be zero access to games that have been stuck on that platform that were amazing games. I mean, how many of you watching this video have ever played this classic gem right here? Def Jam Fight for New York. This is one of the best games in my collection, and you can't play this if you don't have a PlayStation 2 console or a backwards compatible PS3, which there's not many of those left that are still alive and working in 2027. We're going into 2027 now, and we're talking a 20-year-old box. You can't play games like this. They take it away. They take away the access, or they never give you the access in the first place. We've lost digital storefronts before, and they're just like, hey, you can have access to still download your stuff, but you don't have access to purchase it any longer. You have no more access to obtain new experiences on that box. Just because Sony says that those servers are outdated, they can't upgrade them to move them along, and it's a security breach. Oh, a security breach on a platform that you want to go completely all digital on. There was literally just hacking that was going on where people were losing their entire accounts with all of their purchases. Somebody halfway across the world can't steal the games off my shelf. They can't steal the experiences that I'm going to share with my kids with these discs. I can let my friends borrow some of my favorite experiences right from my wall. I can't even gift a game on the PlayStation Store to another friend. Say there's somebody on my friends list, and I'm like, man, this person needs to play God of War Ragnarok. It's on sale for $30, which it isn't. I think at the time of this recording, it's a $70 game, but you can go on Amazon and get it for $32 on a disc. They're taking away the ability to have market competition. When there's only one place to get said item, that item costs whatever they say it costs. Grand Theft Auto may never come down in price. It may always be $100 forever, with no sales. Now, I'm not really a big Grand Theft Auto guy, so it doesn't really affect me either which way. It stinks that it's not coming out on a disc, because I do have Grand Theft Auto 5 a couple times, you know. I got the PS5 disc. I got an Xbox disc. I fed Rockstar good. And they can't feed me back by at least pressing their game on a disc, you know? And it's just one of those things where it's like Sony's taking every opportunity they can to shoot themselves in the foot right now. I know that like it's like an 80-20% split between physical and digital sales on the PlayStation. It just thinks that I'm of the 20% that Sony wants to just, oh well, if you don't want to move along, we will leave you behind. Now maybe my PS5 Pro will work really good to kind of bridge the gap between needing a PlayStation 6 for maybe ever. I made a statement when I bought this box. I bought it with the disc drive. I wanted the disc drive and this box to be in the same transaction. I was making the statement to Sony that if I'm buying a professional console, a professional still keeps game files on discs. Now, to people that say, hey, you have no ownership when the game has to connect to the server, like, I don't know. I know Indiana Jones, that's one that is just like a 25 gigabyte file on a disc and you have to download the rest. I think Battlefield 6 is It was the full game on day one, but there's so many updates now. If you're playing the campaign, I think you can play the whole campaign still, but if you want to go online, of course, you have to basically download the whole game again. What I do own is I own the right to be able to share this game with another individual, to bask in my experience and share it with others. And if they enjoy it, then they can buy it for themselves. But now they're going to take the ability for that away from us. At least Nintendo, at the very least, allows me to share games within my family group that are digital. But that's like another turd on top of a poop pie, right? Digital is not for the consumer. The convenience of, I can just swap through my games. Yeah, it's nice to have on a handful of games. But to me, those handful of games that it's nice to have are the online only games, your multiplayer games, your Dead by Daylights, your Fortnites, your game that you're only booting up to go online and play with your homies and your squad, and those are the games that should be your digital ones that you can swap between, and maybe your all-time favorite single player games. But Sony's going to take that away from us, and there's so many people I know that are not making as big of a deal out of this. And there's people that come to my channel to watch movie related content. I know. And they're ones that are like, hey, my movies are safe. But they really might not be. Sony literally owns a chunk of the Blu-ray format. They make royalties on every Blu-ray disc pressed, including 4K Blu-ray discs, because it's just an extension of the same technology. And if they're cutting out discs, Xbox is going to cut out discs, and the yield for 4K disc printing is going to go down, and that's going to affect the overall market. Boutique labels, they're going to start pumping things out quickly. We're going to get some of our favorite movies very quickly. That's good. We may get a lot more compilation discs, like this one, which is no longer in print and no longer available digital. They took this from the digital store. This is Jurassic Park collection. It has a whole bunch of classic Jurassic Park games from the 90s. They pulled this from the PlayStation store. You cannot buy this digital any longer. But guess who owns it on a disc and still has access to the entire game? I do. And many other people that bought this on disc, right? That's the thing. They also have things like this classic collection, Cowabunga collection, right? These games are all here on this disc. There's multiple games on this. And these are things that they want to take away. The whole game for The Thing, right here, playable on day one on disc. And this is not a boutique label. Like, I showed a couple limited run games, so somebody might pull that up in my face. Hey, that's limited run games. They're like a boutique label for video games. And they are. That's basically what it is. If you're a movie watching friend of mine right now, that's basically what limited run games is like an Arrow Video. This is Atari. Atari is not a boutique label. Atari is a Ubisoft, an Electronic Games, a Capcom, You got things like The Witcher by Warner Brothers, which Warner Brothers is in it deep right now. This has all of the content and everything on this disc. This doesn't even need an update to play this the complete game. And The Witcher's like a huge game. Like a huge game, right? So like the misconception that physical doesn't do anything for you any longer is absurd, and that it's not going to affect the movie part of it. Okay, so the demand for movies might go down, because do you know how many of my friends in real life, like people that I've known for a long time, well, they just started getting back into 4Ks and Blu-rays in the last year, maybe year and a half or so, because the price of streaming is going up, right? Do you know how they watch these Blu-rays and these 4Ks? And these DVDs, because some of them, they still buy DVDs. I'm not going to format shame. I'm happy that people are feeding into physical media. But most of them are watching them on a video game console. Most of the people I know in real life are not buying dedicated movie machines. They're not. I know people in the physical media YouTube community that use a PS5 as their main console, as their main box to watch all of their movies on. They don't have a Sony, they don't have a Panasonic, they don't have an LG, a Samsung, and nothing. They put all their 4K discs in their PS5 and they look great. And they're right, they do. And that's great, and that's good for the majority of people that we are trying to bring back into the movie collecting ethos. They're one in one. Vinyl has made a huge comeback. They're on the rise still to this day. I don't know if we can really change Sony's mind. We pushed the PlayStation 3 and the Vita store closure. We pushed it away by 6 years. They were going to close it in 2021. We got them to push it 6 years. July of 2027. 1 year from the time that I stand here recording this, we won't have access to that store any longer. So they showed us the double-edged sword. We're going all digital, and we'll take it away from you. And for a lot of people, keeping a digital library for over 20 years and having access to that, if it's over 20 years that they lose it, they're fine with that. I still respect my wallet from 20 years ago. I still respect my wallet today. I won't be spending $60, $80, $100 on digital games. I don't do that. I have a digital cap. I really don't think that it's been a handful of times I've bought a full price game, usually for convenience or for the fact that digital might work better in a circumstance of sharing the game within my household. That's been a few times. But I usually turn around and buy the disc again. I mean, I bought a PS5 that came with this digital, and I still turned around and bought the physical. Now I waited till this last June, but guess what? The whole game is on this disc. The whole thing's playable. And this is a 90 gigabyte game. They put the whole thing on this. They do put games on discs still. That's just, it's like if I started telling all my video game friends that, hey, movies, you put those discs in there and you gotta download it to your player from the internet real quick before you can watch it offline. It's not how video games work. It's not how movies work. They're taking away our access. They're taking away our ownership. Even if it is just a digital key on a disc like the Call of Duties or a lot of the sports games are, or Switch game key cards. If they are like that, it is still ownership. You still have the freedom to monetize back off of it, to let a friend experience it, to share it, to let your kids play the same games on their own accounts. That's something that is terrible about this move. They don't have family account implementation set up correctly on Sony's side. I pay $185 a year or some fuck shit for PlayStation Plus Premium, and my kids can't use my PlayStation Portal. I mean, come on! And you want to go all the way digital for this? You want to go all the way digital for this? The main reason I bought the Spider-Man 2 is because my son, who I don't pay for PlayStation Plus for, because that'd be $10 more a month every month, on top of what I pay for mine, and I pay for a family PlayStation Plus account separately, so they have access to play online, and they get access to the game still on the, on the family account. I already run a family account and my personal account that I've had since PlayStation Plus started and PlayStation Network started. Like, I rolled from 2006 all the way into 2010 all the way to now. And so I don't like that I don't like that messed with, so we made a family account, and then they all just they don't all game share, but they kind of they play off that home console with all their own accounts, but they can't do anything with their game saves. They're locked to a PlayStation account without PlayStation Plus. And I don't want to move his save over to a console that he doesn't have access to the digital game, because the digital game access is locked to my PS5 Pro. See? Now they want me to buy that game on his account too, where it's a $70 game. I got that disc for $30, and now I can play it in any PS5 I want to put it in. And it doesn't matter what account loads it. It's the freedom to game how you want to game. And so many people have this misconstrued as to gaming should have been digital a long time ago. The convenience factor outweighs the inconvenience factor. I have a PlayStation 4 that I keep hooked up so that way it doesn't die being unplugged, because it has PT on it. And if any of you know what that is, you already know that it's like a gold mine having that gaming experience on a PlayStation 4 console. They made sure that it wasn't compatible on the PS5. And if you delete it, you can't even re-download it. It is completely delisted, devoid, like it never existed. And it's a demo for a Silent Hill game. And these are just things that they just take away. The proof is there, guys. I'm still going to be buying as many physical PS5 games as I can. I, at one point, was trying to go for an entire PlayStation 2 VR headset physical media collection, because I didn't think there was that many, but the library is actually kind of solid. I mean, shit, there's like 15 or so there, and I think there's at least another 15 or so I'm missing, but I think there's way more than that on disc for that. Like, I think I'm missing quite a bit of VR games, like, they've done a really good job of continuing to press discs. I don't guess people like me have done a really good job of expressing how important it was to continue to buy those games on disc. I told a lot of friends when the PS5 launched, at launch in 2020, don't save the $100 on launch. It's not worth it. You will not save $100. You'll pay more in the long run. You don't get a disc drive. Now this was the launch model. Now, if you get the Slim, you can buy a digital one. Hey, I'm telling you right now, you buy whatever PS5. If you're in the market for PS5, you buy whatever PS5 you can find. You snag it up for the best deal you can get on it if you really want one. Disc, digital, doesn't matter. Because at least with the Slim, you can buy a disc drive later and slap that bad boy on the side. And if they're seeing an increase of their disc drives go up, I mean, that's not really going to help the matters much, I don't think. I mean, this is a decision Sony's making, right? I'm gonna try to get a couple hundred PS5 discs, and the PlayStation 5 might be my last Sony console. And I really hate to say that, because I'm a big Sony guy. Like, if I was gonna have a video game tattoo, if it wasn't something like a Zelda tattoo or something, it'd probably be like a Sony symbol, or like, the X controller symbols, like in a like kind of like this in a way. Something like that. I'm a dork for Sony. I love Sony. Like, I've been with PlayStation since the PlayStation 1. And they're making me feel like the people that are like me that have continued to support it for so many years are just going to be left in the dust. And I used to say, hey, Microsoft wasn't like that, because, everything on this wall that's Xbox, it plays on my Xbox Series X, and these are like old Xbox 360 games, you know? Like, these things play. I got original Xbox games up here, like Star Wars Clone Wars, you know? Like, there's things up here that play on an Xbox Series X from many, many years ago. And I always thought that was a really cool thing that they were doing for the gamer. But if their next Xbox doesn't come with a disc drive either, maybe they don't care any longer. To Microsoft's side note, though, their next console, Project Helix, is supposed to be like a PC in a box. And if it acts like a PC, runs Windows, it's a PC, right? If it has USB ports, you should be able to put an external disk drive on it and still at least boot the licenses off your discs. Because that is what you do on Xbox. But at least they made your discs still worth something for you. And as I buy an Xbox 360 disc, I put them in my Xbox, I download them. And honestly, I have hundreds of Xbox One and 360 and original Xbox games installed on an 8 terabyte external drive, and it's still not full. Like, you could fit a lot of backwards compatible games on a pretty decent sized drive. So if you just download them one time and you store them, then you have them. You know, it's one of those things where I've always kind of thought about this all digital future, and it's getting here quick, guys. And I think it's going to affect a lot of what we like to collect, whether it be video games, music, movies. Music, maybe not so much, because it already affected music like almost 20 years ago when I was getting out of high school, and music's kind of like back and hip to have physical music. So music might be the thing that's cool for a little while, and games might go to the wayside for the next decade or longer. I mean, we might just be done with physical games, guys. And if that's the case, this is the last generation that I might game. I just don't know if I'm ready to go all full digital on storefronts that I'm not comfortable with. These storefronts are not safe. They do not secure my purchases. They've been known to take things away. There's so much going on in video games right now that I could have so many different topics to talk about. I feel like this was the most important one to get off my chest right now. As a physical media enthusiast, I have almost 150 discs on a PS5. I mean, I'm probably good to just play back catalog and not worry about whether or not anything after 2028 comes out on a disc. But my kids will never truly get to own anything. And that is what hurts my soul a bit. They'll be told what they're allowed to have and when they're allowed to have it. And that really stinks for everybody. This was a topic that was just a little bit different than what I normally do here. I do like to have conversations on here quite a bit. I like to talk about, the things that really move me as an individual. Video games really do move me as an individual, along with movies. I have a lot of movies. I talk a lot of movies on this channel. But my first true love of physical media was video games. The first thing that I truly collected as an individual were Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy games in the 90s. I mean, that's where all my collecting kind of started. And, it just kind of stinks, because I think we're kind of at this cusp now. And there might not be much of a turn back. We can talk as loud as we want to. We can scream at the clouds as loud as we want to. But maybe the majority have voted with their wallet already. Grand Theft Auto has sold billions of dollars worth of money, of revenue right off the rip. So, I mean, come on. Some of us did it to ourselves, right? Look, I still will forever be someone that loves physical media and having ownership of the things that I work hard in my life to obtain. Whether I come across the deal easily or not is not what I'm talking about working hard. I work fucking hard at my job to make money. And I always have. And I respect my wallet the same from 20 years ago as I do today. And sometimes you just have to look at a situation and be like, hey, this situation might not be for me anymore. Maybe you get priced out. Maybe the delivery method in which the content is delivered to you is no longer the way in which you want to receive it. But I'm going to keep it physical as long as I can. And I think that you should too. If you've stayed here this whole time, there is some interest in this for you, I'm sure. Thank you for standing here and listening to me ramble on. I'm going to pop up my members here real quick. Thank you guys so much for always going above and beyond. If you guys would like to join as well, you can do it for as little as $2.99 a month. It gives me incentive to continue to get on here and talk about the things that I really enjoy. Like today, talking video games. It's a big passion of mine. And I have probably just as many individual games as I do individual movies. It's just something that I have always had a big heart for. And it's okay. I don't have to lose that heart. There's many, many retro and current generation physical games to obtain right now. And I hope you guys stick around here on the channel with me through this journey of continuing to collect them and continue to talk about them and enjoy them and express our love for the art. And like always, the best way to do that, guys, is to keep it physical.